Oh, my Xbox One, so again, I have a Fox. There's symbiotes in this. It's hard to tell because, again, the brightness or whatever, but there's symbiotes in this. And I want to know if I would see, that's the thing, I don't know if I would count, Gentry's released fire form as, like, a super form. I think that's more of a flame form. Yeah, no shit. Very vague difference, but, you know, it's the difference between supersonic and blazing blaze, or burning blaze. Like, that kind of difference. But, there's symbiotes in this! And she even gets a symbiote form at one point, which was really freaking cool! And mind you, I may or may not have taken inspiration from Venom for certain things in other stories. Just saying that for right now. May or may not have taken some inspiration. Not, you know, anyways, beside the point. I like this. I like this a lot. This is really, really good. Like, holy shit, this is really, really good. This show is great. And before I continue with everything else, the last half of the show, something I want to bring up that I think I just rambled off of last time, and I don't ever think I went back to it. The episode where Gugu is trying to teach Jentry how to use her powers, and eventually they both, quote-unquote, take breaks because Jentry want to go do something else. Gugu having to learn how to use her ghost powers, and pretty much it mirroring how she's trying to teach Jentry and having such a trouble with that. Right, Jentry was trying to follow in the memories of her mom. That whole thing, like, I liked that like, you know, mirroring of each other, which was really good. Which I think Gugu stops the entire time saying, like, oh, it's your powers, you should just know how to use them. Something like that. So that's cool. I also liked this constant thing of, like, putting the hair behind the ear, like that both Gugu and then eventually Gentry's mom does to kind of show, like, their affection towards her. And I like that. And I really like when, in the first half of the season, when Gugu tries to do that as a ghost and, like, her hand just phases through. Because, like, it's the one, like, I've had nightmares of, like, a loved one dying, but then them coming back as a ghost. But then the idea is that I can't physically touch them. It's literally like a recurring nightmare. Mind you, I haven't had it in, like, a few years. But mind you, again, this is a nightmare I've had multiple times. And again, I haven't had it for years, but I can remember that shit, like, immediately. So, that I really liked, and that was something I wanted to bring up, because I'm like, okay, that's a cool way to do that. Let me see here. Let's see, it's cold in here. Homes up with 2 love interests. Okay, wait, no, that's far too back. Let me see here. State Fair again. Outfit, Michael. Oh, another thing, Zoltar. Another thing, because it really got me in the last, the thing too, was when Michael is having, you know, the visions or whatever, and he's like, I don't know what to do here. And he goes, and a Zoltar machine starts talking, and Michael goes, oh, like, okay, you know what, here. Like, then he's like, oh, you know what? He puts the money in, and he tells Zoltar, like, you know, give me, like what, should I tell Gentry? Should I not tell Gentry? What should I do? And Zoltar gives him a card that's very specific, and I'm like, okay, what are the odds of that? Like, oh yeah, you get something else specific thing. But then then he looks down, and he notices it says out of order, and it's not even plugged in. I'm like, oh shit, like, I don't know why that one scene, like, really got me. I'm like, oh shit, like, hold on. What does that mean? Hold on. And it's never really explained either, like, if it's, like, the bad guy doing it or something like that. It's just, like, something like, maybe it's his powers activating. I will say, though, what one gripe I kind of do have with the show is that, like, it, like, after, like, the last few episodes I saw, they do, like, kind of jump forward, like, a few weeks and, like, days and all that stuff. And all the entire time, I just think, like, did Michael ever talk to his parents about these magic powers he has that his parents obviously knew about? Like, we never get an explanation for it, and maybe that's supposed to set up for next season. But also on that same note, this show literally, like, there's a point in, like, the, like, climax part where it feels like it should have been the end of, like, this season. Because, spoilers, I guess, Gentry eventually does, take her powers out. And eventually, if I'm remembering correctly, I wrote down notes. But pretty much, like, they go to, like, this ghost prison to go meet her parents that are there, apparently, for possessing people. And it seems like, oh my god, all the answers are being thing. Her parents are stuck in there. That's why they're ghosts. And, like, you know, all this stuff happened. Then it turns out, nope, that's another lie from Gugu. And that was all bullshit. And, like, there was a transforming cats. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the... Like... Gugu might be one of the worst parents in animated history. Like, holy shit. Like, yeah, they have a nice little send-off and everything, and, like, she eventually, you know, like, she does apologize for everything she's done, but holy shit, she is on the verge of being evil. Like, she even at one point, like, if you even think about it, too, like, she told the cat people who were posing as Gentry's parents, like, hey, you know, tell her that you guys... when she was a baby, tried to take the robes from me, wrap Jentry up in the robes, and be doing that, gave Jentry her powers. When that's not what happened. Gugu literally used these magic cups, drew out the magic from the robes for the Yellow Emperor, and put them into Jentry. I'm like, what the... I'm like, what evil bullshit are you doing? And then eventually when they go to meet Mr. Chang, who made a deal with, like, oh, get me the robes, I'll give you whatever. She goes, here are the robes, they have no magic, ha! And then Chang goes, what the fuck? I'm just gonna go kill, that I can just kill the little girl. And he's like, ha, you won't do that, because you know how it feels to lose a little girl. And Chang's like, you're right. I'll make sure the parents are dead, that way I'll make sure one of the parents is dead and the other one loses their memories, that way they don't even know about their little girl, and they don't feel the same pain. I'm like, oh shit! And that's pretty much what Gugu said. Gugu said, oh shit. When the freaking Gentry's dad just gets stabbed through the chest. It's like, oh. Oh god. And then, like, that, like, took the powers out, put him back in the robe. Eventually, like, Kit, who's also being kind of, like, obsessive over Gentry a little bit because he likes her, which also... There's, oh man, when they're trying to get to the robes so they can do the whole thing to transfer it back into the robes and all this stuff, and there is like a good chunk, and here's the thing too, like, okay, I'm rambling. Okay, let me try to zone in. Okay, so when Gentry does put her powers back into the robes, because she says she doesn't want these powers, she doesn't want Gugu in her life and all this stuff, does that completely takes away the supernatural element, so she can't see ghosts anymore. Eventually Gugu has to possess people, which is a crime as ghosts, apparently. Which also, I hate this afterlife so much. Like, I feel like an afterlife that tries to control you in that sense, especially if it's something for like, oh, you're gonna be trapped in here forever, or be tortured forever, is like some of the worst, like, afterlives ever. I'm just like, you're dead at this point. Why the hell are you gonna try to trap someone in there forever? I guess in DU, the idea is that you get tortured and all this stuff, and eventually you come out pure? I don't know. That just seems like a stupid thing, but, beside the point, I'm sorry if I just insulted somebody's religion. I apologize. But I just hate, and that's not just for that religion, that's for any kind of mythology or something around that, or mythology, religion, whatever, that's like, yes, you have to go through torture. And I'm like, shut up. Jesus Christ, you're already dead. You already went through life. Life was torture enough. What the hell do you have to go through hell the same way? Beside the point. Drawback. But Gugu eventually has to possess people, possess one girl, and, like, Gentry says, like, I wish you died earlier, and just slapped the shit out of Gentry, and she's like, I'm sorry, but her soul gets taken to the prison. Gentry doesn't know, especially when all the ghosts and Ed all leave as well. Especially when, like, Ed kind of runs off at one point because Gentry said, like, she's probably gonna go back to Seoul. Ed's like, I'm coming with you. And then eventually, like, sees a video, Stella sends a video of Gentry using her fire powers, and Ed's like, oh shit, I'll delete it, deletes the video. Gentry's like, you're just using me for clickbait. Now I don't have my powers, so you have no reason to be here. Ed kind of runs off, thinking like that, but then he comes back like, no, I actually do, want to be here and be a part of this family. And that's when they eventually go to try to go get Gugu out of prison. Gentry doesn't know anything about this, gets locked away. They get locked away in the prison, and then Gentry's just left alone and doesn't know she's alone. I'm like, oh my god, this is so sad. And also, Because here's the thing, too. One of the worst tropes. This is the trope I hate the most. Like, probably one of the most... And it's the reason why I hate Spider-Man 2. It's the reason why stuff like the Spider-Man... whenever, like, that Spider-Man Anime Series 94 one, they did this, I think, once or twice. Maybe they just did it once. And then, like, there's also stuff like gargoyles. There was an episode where Goliath wished he never was a gargoyle and all this other shit. I always hate, like, oh, the superhero's like, oh, I don't want my powers. There's just a curse upon me. And stuff like that. And it's like, no, you idiot. Like, no, you've literally saved hundreds, if not thousands of lives throughout your career with these powers. You've saved people. You've saved the world or all this other stuff. If you didn't have your powers, everyone here would be dead. That's the gist of it. Everyone would be dead. Jentry Chau actually makes it... Jentry Chau, on the other hand, is different. Because, one, the powers aren't a part of her. Two, everything that does happen... Like, because that's the thing, too. Like, there's always a thing with Batman and Superman. Is like, oh, their presence is the reason why we have all these insane criminals and all this stuff. It's like, no! These insane criminals probably would have been around here anyways. Maybe not as theatrical, but they would still be here. Like, Batman wasn't the reason all these criminals started going, yes, I need to build a doomsday device that could freeze the city. It's like, no, you idiot. But, in Jentry Chau's case, that kind of is it. Like, the portal wouldn't have opened without those powers. She wouldn't have lost her parents if this lady wouldn't have freaking had the robes or put the powers from the robes into Jentry. Hell, this city wouldn't have been on fire. Hell, the Great Fire wouldn't have happened if Google would have actually probably put in a little bit more effort trying to find Mooney, Gentry's mom, which Mooney even brings up, like, you could find all of these ancient relics and artifacts and all this bullshit, but you couldn't find me, who was 2 hours away? What is the logic here? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree. It wouldn't surprise me if Google was still hiding shit. Like, that honestly kind of doesn't compute a bit. Like, yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, Google is, like, honestly, like, maybe, like, just that much better, and that's very little, that much better than Shadow Weaver in She-Ra. Because, holy shit, Shadow Weaver is a piece of shit. Like, Shadow Weaver is a bad mom. She is still Adora and Katra's mom, but she is a bad mom. And, like, even her death, I'm just like, okay. Like, alright. Even Gugu dying, and I'm like, I don't want you to die, but also you did do some horrible shit. Like, oh my god. Shadow Weaver, like, aw, man. Katra's gonna be sad. That's about it. You, Shadow Weaver. Like, that's kind of the thing about that. So, like, that's why I was just like, oh, poor Gugu. But also, you did do some horrible shit. Like, oh my god, are you doing horrible things? Like, oh my god. Also, eventually, Jentry gets her powers back when she gets her powers back because Kid is being obsessed over Jentry. Gentry's like, I don't want anything to do with supernatural stuff. I just want a normal life. Kit goes, okay. And so he's like, I have to get my soul. So he gives the robes to Mr. Chang, who Mr. Chang uses the robes to pull his daughter out of the great beyond and put him back in her body, which even the daughter's like, why the fuck did you just take me out of heaven and put me back here? Why did you do this? Why? Like, and then another thing, that cool bit of world building is when he gives her the robes because she's cold, and she starts throwing a tantrum because she's a child, and starts just ripping holes into other underworlds. So she rips a hole into, like, the Greek mythology, into Japanese mythology, which, like, I really do find it funny that, like, they're like, yes, a giant skeleton. How the hell, like, how many people are going to know this reference is Japanese? Stab a flag in its head, that's the Japanese flag. Done. Like, I was like, God. But, makes sense. Alright. Oh, man, what was it? I know there was Greek. I know there was Japanese. Let's see. Gugu is a villain. She put them in Gentry, hoping Chang wouldn't do it because she's a daughter. Oh, Egyptian. Egyptian was the other one. Yep. All right. But, God. And then, funny thing, too, is, man, what was it? Also, like, before they took the powers out of Gentry, all that stuff, she went to Kit, which is, like, making a new skin, and Gentry's like, I need your help. And pretty much, he makes a skin of Gentry so that he could pose as her. Which, I ain't gonna lie, I really do like Gentry Kit. Like, I like the hair kind of pulled back in the dress outfit of that. I'm like, alright, I kind of dig this outfit a lot in this style. Also, it's really funny because Michael comes to the house and asks Gentry, who's actually Kit, if he would go to homecoming with him, and Kit's just like, no. And it's funny too because then Gentry's hearing all this over the ear pods, which is really, again, really funny that the ear pods are pretty much like the two-way communicators you would see in like Kim Possible, which is like, oh, so high advanced technology, and it's like, we already have, our shit is so far beyond what we usually have for tech, but, or it's seen as futuristic in like old cartoons, but Kit just like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to go out with you. Actually, I'm going out with Kit. And Ginger's like, what the fuck are you doing? And even Google's like, what are you doing? Like, what the hell? It's really, really funny. Because I'm like, oh, you just gave the perfect thing. And I kind of like that dynamic between Kit and Michael. Also, Michael's having visions that Gentry's going to die. He gets stabbed in the chest. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be Kit. Spoilers, it's Kit. That does it, and he dies. How did he make, like, the one with the robe and everything so quickly? Maybe, I guess, I could see him probably doing it just in case to trick Chang. Eventually, the ghosts and everyone break out of the prison after, like, the jail guy, who's, like, the guy with the big sword, and also apparently friends with Gugu, who is a ghost hunter. He broke them out, helped them get out. They possess, like, all the monsters, attack everything. Gentry eventually convinces the girl to give back the robes. Mr. Chang tries to use the robes as well, but stabs Kit instead, who's dressed up as Gentry. Gentry puts on the robes, burns the robes, giving back her full powers back into her, and then pretty much rips out Mr. Chang from the Mogwai, which the Mogwai then is like, I know where your mother is, because that was part of the deal, that she would be alive, and eventually he gets eventually dragged into the afterlife, and then it seems like that would be like and then like, it's like, no, and it ends there, and like, that would seem like that's the perfect ending for like season 1, but it keeps going like another 3 episodes, where they then have to bust into DU, and and when they go, like, Gentry and Ed go there, Gugu follows behind, and like there they see like all the people being tortured and all this stuff. Gentry eventually, they eventually are able to get the Mogwai, who the Mogwai enters into Gentry willingly. Gentry allows this to happen, which gives Gentry like this cool symbiote form. It starts using tendrils, swinging around, burning people with her fire powers. But the Mogwai takes some of her chi, which then allows him to be strong enough to then eventually, like, also gives them vision of where Mooney is. They find next episode, they find Mooney. She's, like, they're happy they found her again, and she apparently, like, lost her memory after, the whole thing, because that's what happened, like, all of her memories got put in these pearl necklaces that Gentry had, and Gentry pretty much gave her the option, like, you could just be yourself, or, you get your memories back. And she's like, I want to be your mom again, because she, all this entire time, has been remembering things. And, like, she even looked up stuff like all the ghosts that lived in Gugu's house, and eventually, like, her own quote-unquote obituary and all that stuff. Which also, that thing talked about, like, the Great Fire in that obituary, but that was also before she eventually saw Gentry, because apparently what set off the whole thing with the fire was, and also I love that, like, Gentry drawing pictures and stuff of her parents when visiting the grave, and then, Mooney's actually alive, kept that picture the whole time. But eventually, the reason why the Great Fire even happened was because Gentry had saw her mom in the grocery store, and because of that was what set off the Great Fire, and that's what burned down the entire town and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's actually a really good way to do that. Also, yeah, again, Kit's dead. Like, he's dead. I thought maybe with, like, the opening showing him with, like, angel wings, maybe, like, oh, is it gonna be, like, he got stabbed and killed, but then, like, he, like, I don't know, self-sacrificed, so he comes back as an angel? Because we've already seen that there's multiple different, like mythology worlds and underworld, so... But apparently not. No, Kit is just dead. Like, he is just dead. Which I'm like, God, man. At least Jacob got to live. Holy shit. Like, I don't know, man. And, like, that kind of sucked. Also, like, Michael's dating this one girl, and, like, immediately, okay. Stella was the one who sent the video that Ed did, and also is the one that tried to help Gentry feel normal throughout the whole thing, which is great. But also, she immediately set Gentry up with her ex-boyfriend, and like they're like, no, it's fine. We weren't a good match, and I'm like, I don't think you would have moved on that quickly. Like, holy shit! And then on top of that, like she's like really pushing it, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like a girl who just like that is still your ex, and like I don't know, it just feels weird on that note. And then Michael's also dating a girl, but then like when Gentry admits that she loves him still, he's like, no, you're not doing this, even though I have been holding on hope that we would get back together and all this stuff, because I had visions of you and me fighting demons together. And apparently he's been training his visions and all this stuff. And again, but we have no explanation of where that's happening. Again, like, I can go through context of, like, the symbols around his eyes and everything that, okay, it's some kind of African style, like, magic system and all this other stuff. And maybe it'll explore it in season 2. But also, why would you have the parents immediately admit that they know something, but then never give us, like, a follow-up of that? It's like, come on, man. Like, at least have the parents, like, at least have the parents not know, or maybe, like, their grandma finds out or something. I don't know. In any case. Also, Flora got her mom killed. Also, wait a minute. Also, like, in the season, like, Flora, aka Gugu, I believe it was Gugu. Is Flora? Yeah. Anyways, Gugu pretty much tells the Taoist priest lady, who drinks the elixirs, like, for her to train Gentry. But we never, or was he just asking for the ghost essence, I guess? I thought she was doing it so she could train Gentry. But after that one episode, she kind of just disappeared. And it's just like, okay, is she gonna run back? Like, there's definitely some, I guess, plot threads left open for season 2, I guess. And again, it does very much feel, Monster of the Week. Like here's a good comparison, which is really funny because there is a main character who's connected to some alternate world who has magical fire powers. Go listen to the Adventure Zone. What was it? Is it the Adventure Zone? Amnesty. That was it. I haven't even finished writing it, but I remember it. Is it? Yep. Adventure Zone Amnesty. It's the third, I guess, campaign in the Adventure Zone's podcast. And, like, it's, like, watch that and, like, not saying, like, it's, like, copying or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in the sense of, because Amnesty uses like, I think is it Powered by the Apocalypse Monster of the Week? I think it was, like, a roleplay system. And very much, I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at this show, and I'm like, I could 100% see this being done with that system. Like 100%. Like that, like if you ever want to do a Jentry Chau roleplay campaign, I would recommend that system because holy shit. Like I'm watching, I'm like, okay, Jentry Chau's the chosen one, the one with the mystical powers that tie back to whatever, or like, you know, the mystic and all this other stuff. Like mix it with other things, and Michael's, you know, this one, you know, it's a lot of things. The guy with the dark past and all this stuff, like. It's really funny because, like, again, I can 100% see the Monster of the Week in this. 100%. I can see the Twilight inspirations with this. I do feel bad for Kit because I'm like, God, like, you just died, and they're like, oh, yeah, he has no soul, so I guess he's just not existing. But then also I have questions. Like, Mr. Chang, I thought was dead in the first episode. I thought Jentry just incinerated his ass. And his heart. But I thought Jentry just incinerated his ass. Like, but he kept coming back. So I thought, oh, is this going by like rules of like, oh, if you kill a demon or whatever, it just respawns in like the underworld? But no, like, I guess he's just dead. Maybe Painted Skins actually do come back. I don't know. It's very, I don't know. Also, was his parents actually people? Or were they just like Mr. Chang controlling them? Why did he even need parents to begin with? Especially because we find out, like, Kid is actually like hundreds of years old. Shut up! Is hundreds of years old. And yet, like, he still has parents. Is it just for the illusion of it? And also, if that's the case, it's just the illusion of it. Why make them the creepiest shit possible? Like, I don't know. But yeah. The fighting was cool. And also, I do like that Gentry's powers aren't just fire. Like, they are like a cleansing flame, but then also she can create constructs. Like, she can create like these glowing chains. She can open portals, which is really funny when her and her mom are deciding to go to live in Seoul. And then, like, you know, then she's like, at once she's like, you know, it's a big thing, like, oh my God, you're leaving town? And she's like, well, yeah. And then Gugu's like, oh my God, you're leaving? I thought you liked it. He's like, yeah, I do, but we need to start a new life somewhere else. And then she goes, but don't worry, I'm only a portal away. And I'm just thinking in my head, wait, no, yeah, that's right. You're just wait, why are we making this a big thing? This is like someone, because here's the way I see it. If I'm going to move to Seoul. Okay, that's across the world. Oh my God, that's an entire, like, 15-hour flight, let's say, away and all this other shit. Like, oh my God, yeah, that is such a big distance. But with portals, like, literally, and I'm saying this, like, literally, this is the same thing of someone making it such a big deal that you're leaving to go get milk. Not in the way of, like, a dad leaving for milk and never coming back. Not in that sense. But in the sense of, or a parent, I guess, and that's just, it's like someone going down the street to go get milk and then coming back with the milk. Like, she can literally live in Seoul, have the time of her life, and then like, oh shit, it's midnight. It's almost time for school. Snap her fingers, open a portal, go through, and then she's back at school with Michael and everyone else. Like, travel is no longer an issue for you. Like, travel is not an issue for you at all. It is funny, though, that, like, a lot of this is happening. Oh, like, this show takes place in Texas, somewhere I've lived for a good chunk of time. Like, there's a point where they find Mooney, like, in a town right outside of Dallas, and I'm like, I've lived somewhere, like, almost exactly like that, where I could see downtown, like, almost that close. Maybe a little too close, but, like, I could see downtown almost that close, that same ball with the lights up and everything. I could see that from, like, out my front door. Texas being where I was living, last time, I can't see outside my front door, but on a clear day, you could see Dallas, like, not that far, like, an hour away. It's an hour away, but you can see it. Understand that. But, anyways. Oh, God. This show is cool. This show is cool. I hope it gets another season. I wouldn't say it's my top favorite animated show at all. I'm gonna still say, Invincible Fight Girl kind of wins that one a bit. But I will say this is one that I really, really do like. Because, like, it's dipped so much in, like, this Chinese culture and all that stuff. And also, here's the thing, too. Because I ain't gonna lie. In the back of my brain, I'm like, alright, is this, like, one of the, like, every other, like, thing right now where it's like, oh, they're trying to appeal to, like, the Chinese demographic. Or stuff, not demographic, but like the Chinese country itself. And so they're putting all the Chinese stuff in here, like, in, you know, Genshin Impact's a Chinese one, but like, it very much is leaning heavily towards it. But then I remembered the giant bony skeleton and a lot of the ghosty things were like about death and all that. And I'm like, okay, wait, no, never mind, because they hate that. They hate skeletons and all that stuff. So that would be a no-go immediately. I'm like, alright, fine. Alright. This is just someone who this is actually a passion show for them, I'm feeling. And apparently they say, creator of this said, like, it's their, like, it's a love letter to their childhood. So I'm like, okay, this is a show that they actually like, that they made probably for themselves, really. Not in the sense of, like, you know, they didn't get all this money and everything from everything else, obviously to make money also, but, like, they made it for themselves in that sense. It's something along the lines of, El Tigre. I can't remember the guy's name, sadly, I forgot. But one thing, and I still think about this interview, like, years later after I read about Nickelodeon, and El Tigre is far off. But, like, in one of the Nickelodeon magazines, the creator of El Tigre brought up that both Manny Rivera, and then, I can't remember her name, is it Gloria? His best friend, who eventually is, like, kind of his love interest also, that they're based off of himself and his wife, if they had met as kids. And I'm like, I love that. That is something that I draw on a lot, because I love that a lot. I love that idea. And that's why, like, something like this, too, like, that, I feel like El Tigre probably was, like, that kind of passion project for him, as this is probably for her. So, yeah. This is good. Also, I like in the very end, I like throughout the series that Gentry's hair goes from being dyed blonde to slowly, like, getting black, where you see her roots more, to the very end where she has her hair all black again. I do want to see what season 2 will be like. Yeah. But I do, again, I love the Mogwai Venom kind of thing. They even have, like, the teeth out and everything also. I love this shit. I like seeing her using her flame fire powers. We never get a full answer about stuff like the full Emperor's, the Yellow Emperor, as well as things like why the pages were ripped out in the book, or things like, you know, where this guy get his magic African powers from and all that stuff. But I'm gonna hope that's gonna be saved. I'm gonna hope this show gets a season 2, and I'm gonna hope we're gonna see it. I think it might. I don't know. I don't know what the contract they made with or anything is with this, because this show definitely, well, it released in 13 episodes, where I think if I'm remembering correctly, Glitch Tech was like 2 seasons, but it really was 1 season cut in half. So, and a few of those shows have done that. It being released all together as 1 season might hint at maybe there's at least a 2nd season coming. I don't know. Any case, this is pretty good. I really like this a lot. Maybe Kit will pop up in the next season. That'd be great. God. Japanese now. Called it. Kit using Gentry skin. Did Kit sacrifice himself, turn it into an angel? Gentry can open portals. Principal is gay and adopted a kid. Yep. That was just... you just see that at the very end. Also, at the very end, Stella seems to like Gentry's... like, one of her friends. Like, they put their hand on top of each other. It's like, oh, meet cute. Cupcake designs. It's just different colored cupcakes. Gentry heard the argument with Gugu. Yeah, there's a point where Moody and Gugu have, like, a fight with each other. Like, arguing stuff like that. And she's, like, saying how bad Gugu has been and all this stuff. And Gentry's like, yeah, no, I can't argue with it. Like, I understand your feelings, and I cannot really argue with this. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't either. I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. Like, Gugu has done some horrible shit. I'm trying to do what's best for Gentry. Like, but a parent could do like, you're not her parent. You took her parents away from her. I'm like, oh my god. Gentry feeling she owes Gugu, yeah. Also, the Mogwai, which also, I thought the Mogwai was going to use more of the ghost of the afterlife when he controlled Oxhead, but that didn't seem to really be the case. and also it's really weird that all these demons could just be possessed by ghosts. I was like, really? I think that was the one people who couldn't be possessed, but okay. Jentry can literally make portals anywhere. She got the jars. Kit really just dead. No, Jentry, see through this bullshit. Yeah, she saw immediately through the bullshit of the symbiote. But I do love when Michael has a vision after kissing Jentry, which again, he completely threw away his other girlfriend. Like, that girl's just gone. Like, Michael's like, let me see a future now if it's good. And then eventually, after all this shit where Jentry gets locked in, the school is in the DU and all this other stuff, Michael runs in and goes, Jentry, it's not your mom! When he already saw a video of symbiote mom, like, holding Jentry up by the throat. And I'm like, I think she got that message like 10 minutes ago, man. Calm down. Like, alright, do something more productive. Also, Stella learning how to use different talismans was actually kind of cool. I really liked that. And she just eventually started blowing demons up on accident. And it's like, don't you dare freaking touch me with that shit. Jentry letting her hair go black. Stella and Soul be best friends liking each other. Got her another necklace. Oh, and then Gugu got her another necklace. And also, Gugu got stabbed through the chest with, like, I think it was Oxhead's, like, trident, so she's actually dying as a ghost, which again, I don't like this afterlife. Why can you die as a ghost? Like, the way I see it, a ghost is like, okay, maybe it's just my idea of a ghost. The ghost is energy. You can't kill energy. Like, that's like, and mind you, like, there's a whole thing with mythology I could go, or ghostology, I guess, that you go with, like, the idea that the reason why a room gets cold whenever they do ghost stuff. The reason a room gets cold is because the ghost is sucking in energy, because heat is energy. So if the room gets cold because there's a ghost presence, like, it could just simply be that the ghost is absorbing that energy in that room, making it colder. Or, that's why the ghost, lights are flickering and shit, because it's drawing energy from that. There's the whole thing. Anyways, beside the point. Also, in moving things with telekinesis or psychokinesis, it wouldn't be telekinesis. It would be psychokinesis, because psycho or psi means soul. So it would be psychokinesis, not telekinesis. Beside the point. I'm being on technicalities. Yeah. So, magic. I like this a lot. I like the music also. It's really good. I love the art style and everything too. I always feel like if there's a show that starts using pink a lot for, like, different shades and all that stuff, I'm like, alright, this show might be really good because it's a style that I really like. Yeah. This is a badass show. Stella and Talisman kisses him. Her mom doing hair behind... Oh, yeah, the mom doing the hair behind the ear thing when Gugu's looking in. Like, and, like, there's the whole thing with, obviously, the mom not liking Gugu. And so I'm like, yeah, I get that. But, yeah. Her fire powers are pretty badass. And, again, you can tell that they're beyond just fire powers. Again, she can create constructs. She can create, like, the portal thing. Portals... I like that a lot. That's really interesting. That it's not just fire powers. And it seems to extend to more of magic. Which you could probably say, like, the fire powers aren't really like fire, but it's more like just pure energy that she's creating. Like fire-ish energy. Magical energy. Yeah, and then you have the freaking symbiote and all that stuff. Yeah, freaking cool. Anyways, thanks for watching freaking videos. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if I missed anything. I'm sure there probably is. I feel bad for Kit. Hopefully he comes back in season 2. Hopefully we see more things. And then Jentry now has, like, the necklace with Gugu's memories in it, which wouldn't surprise me if maybe they can use that to bring her back. If they wanted to. Probably not. They probably won't. But also, again, it just sucks that, yeah, your soul can die. It's like, really? Like, really? It's energy. Like, and mind you, I love Shaman King. But also, like, there's a point where Hal's like, yes, the spirit of fire. Actually, you know what? No. The Shaman King actually does use spirit souls, I would say, quote unquote, correctly. Or at least my interpretation correctly. Because he has a fire thing like, the spirit of fire, which is that hand that's holding him, if you couldn't tell. I don't know if you can see it around there. Whatever. Can burn away the soul. But in the end, like, assuming this is correct, maybe it's wrong, and in that case, I don't like it. But in a sense, still, it's like, the energy becomes part of the spirit of fire, because all souls came from the Great Spirit and all souls return to the Great Spirit, and the Great Spirit itself is literally just all souls together as energy. So like I kind of see like the world like if you're going to do Ghostwise, you should do it in that sense of their energy that can't really be destroyed. It can be, anyways, beside the point. All right, whatever. I like this show. It's really good. I want to see more of it. I want to see, especially because I feel like season 2 will expand more on things like maybe there will be an African things with like this kid, Michael. Maybe we might see Kit come back. Wouldn't surprise me if he does. And he was cool. It's also he even helped Ed like at one point. Anyways, this is great. I like it a lot. Thanks for watching show videos. Hope you enjoy this, and we will. See you later. Also, it's giving me some ideas. Okay, first off, there were some ideas that are in this that I'm like, all right, I kind of already had things planned in for that for later. Which I'll say those when those happen in Owl's Town. But on the same note, too, I'm like, okay, I think I also kind of got new ideas for certain things. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. See you later.